Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be recording a slightly different video. This is a response video basically. The video is entitled 5 of my nostalgic PlayStation 1 games. It was done by David Retro Games Played Badly, a friend of mine, and he's listed basically what it says in the title. 5 of the nostalgic PlayStation 1 games and sort of reasons why and stuff. And he was responding to a video by a guy called A Lad Up North 89. And he obviously must have started this original trend off. I don't know if anybody else has done one of these, but I like the look of it. And obviously I was chatting to Dave on the comments and he said, you know, why don't you record your own? So I thought I'd give it a go. I mean, most of these are from, I've got 2 games from 96, 1 from 97 and 2 from 98, so pretty much the same time period. Unfortunately 2 of my games are the same as Dave's. But you know, it's like, if you're going to be honest, you've got to be honest, haven't you? You know, there's no point in saying, oh, just because somebody else has these games, you know, then they don't mean as much to me anymore. They mean a lot to me. So I'm going to start with one of those, and that's Final Fantasy VII. The game basically changed my life. I'd never played any of the earlier versions. I didn't own a Nintendo growing up. I had a Game Boy, but I didn't have the Nintendo system, Entertainment System, or the Super Nintendo. So I never got to play any Final Fantasy game up till number 7. It got released on PS1 obviously, and I remember reading about all the Final Fantasy games up till that point and thinking, yeah, wish I had a Nintendo because they do sound good. And then obviously as soon as number 7 came out on the PlayStation, I was there queuing up for it because I thought I'm going to give it a go and see what everybody's raving about. And man, oh man, the game got me on so many levels. You know, it made me laugh. It was exciting. The gameplay was like nothing I'd ever played before. Turn-based, you know, strategy game. Never played anything like that. The way you could level your characters up, awesome. It was totally new to me, and it's been an obsession of mine ever since. It's probably my most repeated game that I have. I have it on like PlayStation Vita now and stuff like that, because I bought it on when I got my PS3, I bought it on the PlayStation Store. I think it was the first thing I ever bought on my PS3, because they just released it, and then I converted that to the Vita, and now I've got it on the Nintendo Switch, and I've got it on PS4. And obviously I've got the remake now, but the original game was just absolutely awesome. I love the way you could put your own name in it, so it kind of made the story mean even more, even though obviously you want to play as Cloud in some ways because he is the classic character. You could also change the names of all the characters, so you could put the special people in your life within the game and then kind of like, you know, just make it your story. And it got me. The story of Final Fantasy VII is an awesome one. I urge you, if you've never played the game, give it a go. The remake's awesome as well. I really like that, but you can't beat the original. And yeah, I just remember playing it and just thinking, I wish I hadn't missed out on all the other ones growing up. It's basically it. Okay, I could witter on about Final Fantasy VII all day, but I'm going to now talk about the second game that's also on Dave's list. We get the 2 out of the way that are on that list, and then we'll crack on with a couple of new ones. It's Tomb Raider. And I think Tomb Raider's probably on a lot of people's lists if they mention favourite PS1 games. I'd never again played anything quite like it when I played it for the first time. I think we all fell in love in some way with Lara Croft. You know, David mentioned her pointy breasts, which, you know, yes, I think many a male fantasy was arisen from that. You know, I was in my early 20s back then. So probably still a bit naive, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was a sort of game that you would rush home from work to play. You know, I remember my 21st birthday. Sorry, it wasn't my 21st birthday. I want to talk just a regular birthday. But I remember going to the pub at work. I used to work in London for the Financial Futures Exchange, and the tradition was you'd go to the pub at lunchtime, get absolutely ratted basically, and the afternoon was your own. Everyone would buy you drinks and you'd end up getting plastered. But I remember I used to love doing that. It used to be my favourite thing. Getting drunk still is pretty much, you know, I'm a bloke, I like a beer. But you know, I think back then I was so obsessed with playing Tomb Raider that I even cut my pub day short that day. I went over to the pub for a few and then thought I could stay here all afternoon and get absolutely blind drunk, and that would be brilliant. Or I could just go home slightly pissed, slightly merry, and go and play Tomb Raider for the rest of the day. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah, that was the kind of effect it had on me. It drew me away from beer and birthday drinks, which, you know, many things would do that. So yeah, an absolutely awesome game. Another game I've got on multiple systems. Again, I think I have it on PS3, Vita. Don't think there's ever been a PS4 version, but obviously the remakes are really good too, the newer versions, and I've got all of those. But Tomb Raider's the one that started it all, and all I need to say to you is T-Rex, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. That when that first happened, when you felt the footsteps, or you heard the footsteps coming, you're like, what the heck is that? And then all of a sudden that huge dinosaur comes running at you. Yeah, that was a massive moment in video gaming for me. It was awesome. Okay, on to my third game, and it has to be, for me, Resident Evil. Just again, a game changer, a franchise that's still going strong today. I'm playing Resident Evil 3 for my channel as we speak. I've actually completed it. I've got all the videos left to put up, but you know, I completed 2 from Resident Evil 2 remake for my channel last time around. Resident Evil 7 was awesome as well. You know, it's a franchise that is still going strong today, and the original game that started it all back in '98. I remember sitting on a train. Sorry, '96. '98 was a sequel. I remember coming home from work one day, sitting on the train, and I always used to buy the PlayStation magazines. I think it was official PlayStation magazine that I read this in. I'm going to flash a picture of it up on the screen. I've been trying to get a PDF of it so I could put more info up on the screen, but I've only managed to get a couple of pictures, unfortunately, of it. But I've got it's also in Computer and Video Games magazine, which is another one I used to read quite a lot. I just remember sitting on the train reading the preview review sort of thing, because obviously, you know, they used to get the games early and then you'd read about them. And I was just like, oh my god, what the heck is this game? It looks absolutely awesome. I'd never played anything with zombies in at that point. Loved a zombie movie, you know, Dawn of the Dead, huge Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead fan. And yeah, when I read the review of that in the magazine, I was just like, well, I've got to have this game. Can't wait for this game to come out. And it did not let me down. And the original, although it's been remade, and I think the remake does improve on it and makes it an absolutely awesome game. It's a game I've completed fairly recently, actually, on the PS4, and obviously on the original GameCube. It was brilliant as well. But it's just, there's something nostalgic about going back and playing the old PlayStation 1 versions, and you know, that immortal scene when the dogs burst through the window and scare the pants out of everybody that's ever played that game. Unreal. I loved it. I love the original Resident Evil. Admittedly, maybe I preferred number 2 when it came out. I thought 2 topped it in most ways. But you know, you're looking for nostalgia here, and nostalgia for me, sitting on the train reading that review and thinking in my head, this is a game I have to own. That for me sets it apart from all the sequels that followed, and potentially the best Resident Evil game, in my opinion, Resident Evil 4, I love. But this is the one that gives me the nostalgia buzz, you know. And also it's PS1. We're on PS1 age, aren't we? Resident Evil 4 didn't come out for PS1, so there you go. Okay, enough wittering. On to the next choice, which is this little beauty, Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, probably ranked by most people as one of the best PS1 games ever made. It's got to be right up there in most people's lists. Again, I mean, when we talk nostalgia, I think we look back on games as something that changed our opinion on games. You know, it gave us something new that we'd never experienced. I mean, Resident Evil gave me zombies I'd never experienced. Tomb Raider with the puzzle solving and essentially platforming and climbing and jumping on things, and the shooting, you know, that sort of type of game, a bit like an Uncharted is today, you know. That was different. JPRGs for Final Fantasy VII. Metal Gear Solid gave us the stealth game, which I'm not a massive fan of, like some people are, but it's something different, isn't it, you know? Where you don't just run and gun and shoot everything in sight. You have to be tactical about things. You have to sneak around, and that adds a little bit of tension to a game, you know. And yeah, when this first came out, I remember playing it at my mate's house. Me and my brother and my mate Mike were playing it, and yeah, all of us were just wowed. The graphics were awesome. for the time, and it still hold up pretty well today when you go back and replay Metal Gear Solid. And yeah, admittedly, I think I preferred number 2 again when it came out. That came out for PS2, so obviously you're expecting it to be a slightly better game, and yeah, they really did a great job on that. But where it all started, Metal Gear Solid was awesome, and yeah, a different style game. I mean, even going as far as making you when you fought that boss, I can't actually remember his name. I think it's Mantis or something, and where you have to plug the joystick into a different port to actually fight him, because obviously everything he's doing is kind of backwards, isn't it? You know, and that's a revolutionary thing. You know, at the time, it used to annoy me because let's face it. It was something that if you didn't have a cheat guide, which obviously we didn't have the internet back then, how the heck was you ever supposed to work it out? I think I remember ringing a tips line. Actually, they used to put tips line in magazines, didn't they? And I read a tips line. I think I was on the phone for about 10 minutes or something, ran up a huge bill. But it was basically to find out that I had to plug the controller in a different control port to fight this guy. And it's like, well, how would I ever have known that? You know, without looking it up. It's just unbelievable, sort of like touches like that where you just have to, I don't know, just think outside the box, you know. And like I said, you would never have got that in a million years if you didn't look it up the first time you ever played it. Some people might say that's cheating in a way, you know what I mean, to throw something that you know is like just so out there at you. Just the boss name just comes to like Psycho Mantis, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so I was pretty close. But yeah, I mean, an awesome game, and the game to this day, I actually can't remember if I've ever finished. I know I finished all the other games on this list, but I don't remember if I've ever. I know the fight at the end with the Metal Gear. Is it Metal Gear Rex? Is that the one at the end? I think it might be. Again, my memory's hazy. It's been a while, but yeah, I don't know if I ever finished it as a kid. I don't know, but I probably did. Actually, I would have been a kid and I would have been an adult. But yeah, an awesome game, and again, another franchise that's still going. You know, well, now Kojima's not with Konami anymore, or hasn't been for a while. But I don't know if we will see another one. But Metal Gear Solid 5 was really good, and so you never know. He may make another one. Okay, finally. God, I'm wittering on here. It's supposed to be nostalgia though, isn't it? So I can wax on a bit about games. The final game on my list changed my perception on football games forever. I'm a huge football game fan. Have been since the days of Match Day on the ZX Spectrum. And then we had sort of like stepping up in class, FIFA 95 on the Mega Drive. Just absolutely blew me away. This one, however, this grew my love for a particular series that I still have today, and this was ISS Pro 98, International Superstar Soccer Pro 98, released October 2nd 98 apparently, and just yeah, an awesome football game, one that I played with me and my brother. Played it a lot. I remember we met some people on holiday, like there was a whole group of us met on holiday, and we used to go to hang out with each other, there was a couple from Brighton, a couple from Surrey, a couple from Middlesbrough, and us living in Essex, and we used to always like take it in turns every few months to go hang out in each other's houses, go and travel to their places. And I remember when we travelled to Brighton, and this guy Kenny, and he was with his girlfriend at the time, Kelly. They've since not together anymore, but that's beside the point. He was a massive Celtic fan and Scottish guy, and yeah, we used to go there and like play football tournaments when we were staying. It was just awesome. There was a fight over me, my brother, and my mate Mike, who was going to be England. But if you were England, luckily enough, you used to have Michael Owen up front, who just had like pace to burn basically. Of course, Kenny was always Scotland, so that was easy pickings because Scotland were never that good. But yeah, and it was the first experience of like having to change the player names as well for Pro Evolution Soccer, where when you think about it, that's pretty much what you have to do even nowadays on a Pro Evolution Soccer game. They still haven't, in all the years they've been going, like the 20 odd years, they still haven't managed to get the rights, bless them. But You know, it's such an awesome football game. I actually, as I'm sitting here recording with you now, I've got a few of my games under a coffee table that I play quite often. I mean, the rest of them are all on shelves, obviously, but I keep a few close by. And ISS Pro 98 is sitting there staring at me because I still play it now on my PS3. You know, stick my PS1 game in there. I love it. I absolutely love it, and it's a brilliant football game. If you like football games, I urge you to buy it. I mean, you can't get it that cheap nowadays. Although I did pick up my copy for around about £8, and it's practically like brand new, not a mark on it. So I got lucky. But yeah, if you haven't played it and you're a big fan of football games, I urge you to do so. I just wanted to throw a couple of honourable mentions in. I know this is probably cheating, but I don't care. It's my rules. I'm going to make them up. And I just wanted to also mention a couple of games which nearly made the top 5 but didn't quite. And one of them is Dino Crisis, which, given my love of Resident Evil, when they brought out a game that was basically Resident Evil with dinosaurs, yeah, that was just awesome. I didn't want to put the same kinds of games on, so I was kind of trying to go for a different sort of thing with everyone. But Dino Crisis, if there's ever a game that is begging for the Capcom remake treatment, I hope and pray that one gets it at some point. But yeah, awesome game. Resident Evil with dinosaurs, that's all I'm going to call it. And another one in the stealth genre which I really love is Tenchu Stealth Assassins, which I just thought was brilliant. And I've got another one as well. I've just thought off the top of my head, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, another absolute dynamite game. All these games very nearly made my top 5, didn't quite. I think they didn't have the nostalgia story attached to them that all the others have, and they weren't as revolutionary given they came a bit later along. But the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver was an awesome game. Okay guys, I think that's enough waffle from me. I've gone on for nearly 20 minutes, so these are 5 of my most nostalgic PlayStation 1 games. If any of you watch this and feel like you should do your own version of this, feel free, and if you do, give me a tag in it so that people know that where your ideas came from, and give the other guys a tag. David Retro Games Played Badly and A Lad Up North 89. The only 2 that I know of that have done this. There may be others out there too, so if you do come across any of them, give them a shout. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. The link obviously is on my end screen. There's a little subscribe thing on there. Please click on that and give me a like if you like the video. And if you want to chat to me, of course, there's comments open, and also my social media addresses are going up on screen as we speak, so feel free to drop me a line anytime. Always up for a chat about gaming. As you can tell, I waffle on, so I'm always up for it. Okay guys, thank you so much. Take care. See you on my next video, whatever that's going to be. Bye for now.